Hey everybody, this is Big Mike. I am here with AJ Zimpfer, candidate in the Democratic primary for U.S. Senate here in Colorado. AJ, why don't you start us off? Tell us a little bit about yourself and why you decided to get in the race.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks so much for having me on. So I'm originally from a small town in Ohio. I moved to Colorado about 16 years ago, right after college. No job, no money, no friends. I just was moving out here for the promise of the West, for opportunity, freedom, all of those things. And slowly, I was living on a couch. I got a job as a waiter and I upgraded to a futon. I got a job at a call center. And then I found my way into accounting, I went to school for finance. So it was kind of adjacent. And I've worked in accounting for like 15 years. About 10 years ago, I was doing improv comedy downtown Denver at a place called the Bovine. And I met a woman who became my wife, and we have two young kids under the age of 5, so kind of crazy and hectic here. But that's the truncated story of my life in Colorado. And then as far as why I'm running, I felt like there was a lapse in leadership from Senator Hickenlooper, and at the time there was not much competition for the seat, and I didn't feel good about voting for him, and I thought I couldn't just be critical without being willing to step in and run. So part of it was my justification to critique Senator Hickenlooper and give a little authority to my criticisms.
Understood. And you made a great video about being a lesser known candidate, and you kind of made a great joke. I thought it was pretty funny how you did it with all of the quotes from the newspapers. Um,
Yeah.
could you tell us kind of what you face as a lesser known candidate? What are some of the issues you're facing and having, maybe getting your name out there or getting your name into the media? What is it? How hard is it? What are you up against?
Yeah, I don't even have all the answers for how hard it is. It is just a lot of emails that don't get replied to. And so even when you see like tracking APAC, which I think is a great organization, and they're saying this so and so is not taking APAC money, I am sending them messages trying to get their endorsement because I also will not take APAC or corporate PAC money, and it's like I can't even hear back from them, which is kind of how fringe I would say my campaign is of trying to build that credibility. And so I think it takes a certain amount of tenacity and continuing to push forward, and then you have to get creative with how you respond, right? So the video you're talking about was in response to Julie Gonzalez entered the Senate race, and she's been in all the newspapers, and she got on Kyle Clark's show. And so, how do you have fun with it and make light of it? I think that's what people want to see. They don't want to see bitterness or disgruntleism. They want to see someone who's just keeps going. So,
That's good. That's good. Yeah, and there's a lot of talk, especially on the left, about revolutionary joy and being able to look at the circumstances that the left is up against and still have fun with it.
yeah, I can't, to that point, I can't tell you how much I love the Portland Frogs. They crack me up. They make me feel happy. They make me feel hopeful. They're like kind of my heroes of the movement in a lot of ways.
Yeah, they need a new sports team that they can name the Portland Frogs. I think that would be fantastic.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
All right. So moving on, it's about some of your major issues. What are you focusing on? What are you looking to get done once you get in?
Sure. I think in whole, who we send to DC is a collection of votes, right? So a lot of things aren't revolutionary. Like Medicare for All already exists in a proposed bill. It's just stuck in committee. And so I really support Medicare for All. And we're sending another vote to help get it out of committee and get it passed. And so it's not like I'm revolutionizing Medicare for All. I just am another voice and saying that Colorado wants this. So I think that I think that way about most issues. But Medicare for All is huge for me, and climate action. I think we owe it to our children and our grandchildren and anyone who comes after us to tackle climate change in this moment. And then all roads lead back to campaign finance reform, right? So if we don't fix that, we're never going to accomplish any of these other goals or objectives. And so that's probably my number one thing that I'm really passionate about. And also, it comes back to like accounting, where I like to pull up the spreadsheets of how everyone's getting their money and dig through them and all the details. And so I'd like to see a lot of change there beyond just overturning Citizens United.
Now, that is something I wanted to bring up. What do you, as an accountant, what do you think that would bring your experience there to the position? How do you think that would be an asset for you if you were to get the Senate seat?
Yeah, I think accountants, especially like at the level that I had gotten to, you have to be a real critical thinker. You have to dig into the details, and you don't take things at face value or at what people at people's word necessarily. You want to see the work, you want to see the flow. So it gets back to like high school algebra, right? Like, show me your equation, how you got from A to B. One example is we've heard a lot about the marketplace and how costs for insurance on the marketplace have risen. And they're saying it's because these subsidies have gone away. I didn't qualify for the subsidies in 2025. So when I got my renewal, my rate went up about 30% without any impact from subsidies. Now, they say that that is because overall the risk pool is changing without the subsidies because healthy people won't enter into the marketplace. But I want to see that work. I want to see how the actuaries decided that these people aren't going to join the risk pool. It's going to raise the total cost for everybody by 20%. So I think being able to dig in and ask the right people the right questions, and not just the CEO who probably has a great answer, but like, bring me the head of your actuary department. Let's talk to them and let's see their work on how they came up with these calculations.
Yeah, and that that never made sense to me because your young, healthy people who they say are not going to get in the market, those are the people that are young, getting married, having children. Those people need health insurance too.
Yeah,
It's not just, that they're old and sick and they need all this help, but like young people have things that are going on that require health insurance.
right, and you're definitely going to lose like a pool of people that are kind of impoverished and unhealthy. Like, I would almost think that it should go down because you're not going to be having that set of people that previously relied on those subsidies in the pool. So yeah, I'd love to know the details. I'm glad you thought of that too. It's cool.
Very good. All right. And so let's see. Into the kind of the sticky issues of the day. We'll start with an easy one. Redistricting Colorado. Where are you on that?
Yeah, I think we need to open up. So Colorado's not very flexible because we have a constitutional amendment that we passed a couple years ago for the non partisan redistricting committee. That should have never been done at the state level for federal districts, right? It just ties Colorado's hands behind our back, which is a lot of our laws do, where we're like, this is a good idea. And then we get stuck in these sticky situations. So I support repealing that and then letting Congress, like the state Congress, do their job to redistrict Colorado as they see fit in order to counter the national redistricting efforts.
Gotcha. All right. And what about when it comes to, as an accountant, I feel like you would have kind of an idea when it comes to a wealth tax. Um, some people say, oh, it's too difficult. The argument on the other side is basically property tax is a wealth tax. So where do you fall on that?
Yeah, I support a wealth tax. I saw a meme one time that was like, you get $100 million and that's it. You won capitalism. No more money for you. And so I definitely support that with the amount of wealth inequality that we're seeing. I think at high levels, we need to implement something like that. I'd also love to just fight for higher wages, which is going to lower the wealth ceiling. So get that money on the front end into the hands of working people, which will bring down some of the wealth. Does that make
Right. And
sense?
that's yeah, and I think they call that what demand side economics, where you put hands in the money of people and people create the demand to create more business.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Interesting. All right. And so you started off you said earlier you don't take money from APAC, you're not taking corporate PAC money.
Yep.
Um the conflict in Gaza that's been ongoing for almost 2 years now. How do you see that? Do you think it's a genocide?
Yeah, yeah. I think it's a genocide. I think it's terrible. It's a big reason why I did decide to run specifically for the seat was Senator Hickenlooper could have voted to withhold arms to Israel. I think the vote was July 30th of this year. He did his thumbs down to keep sending them arms. And I was like, well, not to curse, but F it. I'm going to run because I'm not going to vote for someone who won't stand up to Israel and specifically Netanyahu's government and war efforts.
What about Tabor? Where are you on Tabor? Are you in favor of getting rid of it? Do you think it's a good tool in place and needs to be tweaked?
No, I mean, I'm in favor. So one, I wouldn't have any impact, right, in a federal position, but I believe in a full repeal of Tabor. Again, I think we need to let our state legislature do their job, and it gets in the way of that. It's also like this archaic law from some far right wing Republican in the early 90s. The people that voted Tabor in are probably no longer living, or a lot of them aren't at this point. And so it's just a barrier to progress. I'd like to see it go.
Great. All right. Is there anything else you'd like the folks to know? Anything you'd like to add?
Sure. I think, sorry, let me just look real quick. So, I talked about with campaign finance reform, it's more than just overturning Citizens United. I think what people don't realize is that, individuals can contribute $7,000 to a campaign, 3,500 to the primary, 3,500 to the general. So John Hickenlooper will say, like, I'm not taking corporate PAC money, but he's taken 27,000 plus dollars from Palantir. And so that's more than he could take from a Palantir corporate PAC. So it's kind of like this empty speak. Also, I don't know many working class people that can contribute $7,000 to
No,
a campaign. So our
absolutely
voices
not.
are getting muted whether or not we repeal Citizens United. Again, I think it's very important to repeal Citizens United. I'm just saying there's a lot more to it. And then also, if you look at like the out of state contributions that are coming into Colorado, Hickenlooper takes a ton of money from like New York, wealthy New Yorkers and wealthy Californians. And so I'm like, what do they have invested in ours? Like, why should they be deciding the direction of our state and what our state believes in? So that sort of thing kind of drives me crazy. I'd love to limit out of state contributions as well. And I don't want to just harp on Senator Hickenlooper, but when we talk about affordability, he did a video on the Big Beautiful Bill where he had two half-empty beers, and he said, "This is the rich, this is the middle class," and he poured the middle class into the rich cup. Now that's a great metaphor. I actually kind of like it, but he's in his, he's worth $30 million. He's in his high-end kitchen where those appliances are luxury appliances. And so that messaging is kind of lost. And I think there's something where it's like, is he the right messenger for this moment? I don't think he's always wrong about what he's saying, but does he have credibility? Because what I see, especially from people on the right, is they just think he's full of, horseshit. And to a certain extent, I think that's true. So
Got it. Got it. All right, man. Well, very interesting. I appreciate you, especially stepping up this morning. Again, Santiago kind of bailed on me last minute. So thank you again for stepping up and being ready to go. And
sure.
yeah, it's been interesting, and I will get this posted first thing in the morning for you.
All right. Thanks, Mike.
You
Bye.
have a good one.
You too.